Well, now we are going to turn to really one of the biggest battles facing the country. It's a battle over voting rights, the fundamental rights to vote in this country. Tomorrow, the U.S. Senate gets a step closer to a federal law that is aimed at a national standard, protecting Americans' right to vote. A committee will be making changes to the For the People Act. That's a sweeping election overhaul bill pushed by Democrats. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is fighting fiercely against it. The congressional showdown comes as restrictive state laws being pushed by Republicans around the country in the name of election integrity. So we're going to be joined now and talk to Sylvia Albert. She's the Director of Voting and Elections at Common Cause. That's a group advocating for that federal elections law. Sylvia, nice to have you. Thanks for being with us. So let's take a look at what's just happened. Georgia and Florida have already passed these restrictive laws that limit voting, the amount of vote, time for people have to vote before the election and other things. And I understand they're going to be fought in court. Texas and Arizona getting close to passing their own laws. You work with Common Cause state offices. What's being done on the ground to make sure that if these laws take hold, people will still be able to vote?
Well, all of our groups on the ground believe that every eligible American should have the freedom to vote. That's how we determine our future. And in the face of restrictive voting laws, we will be working to help people overcome those barriers. Obviously, our first goal is to have these laws pulled back. But if that is unsuccessful, then we will be doing what we can individually with every voter to ensure that their right to vote is protected.
Right. So is there a different strategy in how you're handling this in specific localities? And the reason I ask is clearly the battle at the ballot box right now is not between candidates or between ideas. It's about access right now, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is. You know, every community is different. So the strategies around the country are going to be different. And the reality is it is not generally a Democrat versus Republican issue. This year has been slightly different, but voter access really varies across the country. You know, there are Republican-led states that have automatic voter registration, and there are Democratic-led states that don't have no excuse absentee voting. So the tactics are different and really involve activating the grassroots, getting people engaged, and having them talk to their legislatures and their election officials and say to them, hey, we want the right to vote.
So, Sylvia, what's the federal government role here? A lot of Republicans and conservatives hear about a federal election law in an area that generally has been left to the states. How do you explain it to people who don't know much about it, might even be skeptical about it?
Sure. Well, the For the People Act would create national standards. There's no reason that your right to vote should be dependent on your zip code, and that really is where we are right now. You can vote absentee if you live in California, but not if you live in Texas. There's no reason for that to be, and there's no problem with the federal government creating national standards. The Voting Rights Act, which was passed in 1964, created national standards. Those were national standards that were necessary at that point based on the system that existed then. What we are saying is that those national standards need to be updated to reflect the different variety of ways to vote and the different variety of suppressive measures that can be passed and are being passed across the country.
Right. It said in the olden days it was poll taxes and literacy tests applied unfairly, and these days the argument goes it's about these other issues. So we'll see how this battle goes. Sylvia Albert of Common Cause, thanks for helping us understand it.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.